Hey everyone, welcome to the first episode of Pop Nerd Culture News Deep Analysis. Yes, I know it's a long title. Yes, I know it's kind of dumb. Also, I don't care. Got an article from the Hollywood Reporter that I came across, and it's about Bob Iger pushes back on Marvel fatigue, but says Disney quietly canceled movies. Disney CEO was interviewed at a Morgan Stanley conference in San Francisco on Tuesday, where he called the Nelson Peltz-led proxy fight a distraction for the company. Strange sub-headline because that's not really what most of the article's about. But let's get into it. Disney CEO Bob Iger is pursuing a major overhaul of the company's film output. In the midst of something of a strike-induced box office drought, and after a challenging year for Disney's film slate, the executive said Tuesday that we're doing a lot to turn around Disney's feature film business, which hit on hard times that needed addressing. Iger, speaking at a conference hosted by Morgan Stanley in San Francisco on Tuesday, was pressed about what he is doing to turn the film business around. You have to kill things you no longer believe in, and that's not easy in this business, because either you've gotten started, you have some sunk costs, or it's a relationship with either your employees or with the creative community, Iger said. It's not an easy thing, but you've got to make those tough calls. We've actually made those tough calls. We've not been that public about it, but we've killed a few projects already that we just didn't feel were strong enough. So Bob, you finally realized that Disney can't keep bleeding money from repeatedly unsuccessful projects, and that the budget well is going to run dry at some point. Iger added that he's been spending a lot of time with the creators, watching these films, giving detailed notes in these films, engaging in a respectful process that results in improvement. Does anyone really believe that he watches any of the films made by Disney at any point? Oh, I'm sure those creators are beyond excited to see what suggestion Bob Iger has. And he pushed back on the idea of superhero or franchise fatigue, saying that it was not an accident that Marvel's first 33 films generated just under $30 billion at the box office. Yeah, you weren't responsible for all 33 of those films, by the way, Bobby boy. And we're going to go real deep on that generated part later. A lot of people think it's audience fatigue. It's not audience fatigue. They want great films. And if you build it great, they will come, and there are countless examples of that. Some are ours and some are others. Oppenheimer is a perfect example of that. Just a fantastic film, Iger said. Focus is really important. We reduced the output of Marvel, both number of films they make and the number of TV shows, and that really became critical. But I feel good about the team. I feel good about the IP we're making. I talked about a lot of the projects. We look years ahead, really, and it's iterative. The output of Marvel films has already been reduced as compared to the number of movies that used to come out each year. And as for TV shows, you mean series on Disney Plus, which are not getting much viewership and also not earning money. Not only do you look at the films you're making, I don't think that's what he meant to say. Not only do you look at the films you're making, you look at every part of that process. Who the directors are, who's being cast, reading scripts. I personally watch films 3 to 5 times with the team and just create a culture of excellence and respect, which is really important with the creative community, he added. And again, the track record speaks for itself. No way am I buying this line, especially since he is repeating that he watches the films. And up to 5 times. On a related note, Iger also touted Disney's 2024 film slate, calling the upcoming Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes one of the better films in the franchise. The upcoming Inside Out and Moana sequels, and also the big Marvel release of the year, Deadpool and Wolverine, which Iger predicted will be one of the more successful Marvel movies we've had in a long time. The big Marvel release of the year will be built off of the success from a former Fox franchise. That's kind of sad, Bob. Any success of that movie will have nothing to do with Disney, that's for sure. Iger's comments come amid a pivotal moment for Disney, with a pair of activist shareholders, Nelson Peltz's Trian and Blackwell's Capital, each seeking board seats. During Disney's last earnings call, Iger announced a slew of projects and deals hoping to push back against the activists, including a partnership and $1.5 billion investment in Epic Games that will bring Disney franchise IP to the Fortnite universe, a surprise Moana sequel, which will hit theaters this year, a deal to bring Taylor Swift's Eras Tour movie to Disney Plus next month, and a fall 2025 launch date for ESPN's direct-to-consumer flagship service. At the Morgan Stanley conference, Iger said that this campaign is, in a way, designed to distract us, to take our eyes off all those balls that we talked about. Did someone actually quote Iger talking about balls? It's that simple, and I am working really hard to not let this distract me, he added, because when I get distracted, everybody who works for me gets distracted, and that's not a good thing. Bob, if you being distracted distracts everybody who works for you, it sounds like you are surrounded by incompetent idiots. If he's distracted, does the janitor forget to replace the toilet paper? Okay, here we go. When I first read this article, the one main point that jumped out at me and screamed right in my face was his statement about the first 33 Marvel movies generating almost $30 billion. At first, I found the statement, the first 33, a bit strange. So I looked up the list of all Marvel movies and double-checked exactly what he meant. The first 33 he talks about are from the most recently released The Marvels and goes all the way back to Iron Man. And this includes The Incredible Hulk starring Edward Norton, which was distributed by Universal Studios before Marvel Studios became its own distribution. So that's just all of the Marvel movies that have been released. But obviously only the Marvel Studios and Disney Marvel ones, not any of the Fox X-Men movies. After that bothered me a bit, then the word generated started working at me. Generated? Why did he choose to say generate? Why wouldn't someone just say, to date, Marvel movies have made almost $30 billion? And I really started thinking about it and realized it's to cover the fact that it's not profit or earning. The number sounds great, amazing even, but Disney has not made $30 billion from those movies. And I set out to see just how far the rabbit hole, just how much has Disney made from the Marvel movies. I'm going to just have to use estimation as my friend on this one. There's no way to accurately know how much they've made from the movies. I blame bullshit and fudging numbers to cover losses. So I'll just have to take the numbers I can find, estimate the rest, and make a best guess. So, let's see if we can figure out how much Bob has gained or lost from his precious Marvel franchise. I'm not going to go movie by movie. That would take too long. It's only a rough estimate that we need. So, according to Wikipedia, on the listing for all Marvel movies, the total box office is $29,827,308,254. Whoa, that's a lot of tickets. Actually, we'll never know how many tickets they've sold for the movies, so I guess not the best phrasing there. Now, a good average of what the movie production earns and the movie theater keeps is to figure it's roughly 50% overall. In the beginning of a movie's run, the distributor gets a higher percentage, but it generally evens out to 50-50 in the end. So with our box office total, divided in half, that gives us $14,913,654,127. That's still one hell of a chunk of change. But you have to spend money to make money. And we all know that Hollywood loves spending money. And making a movie certainly costs money. That's why estimated budgets will be talked about before a movie is even released. Like they enjoy bragging about how much they can throw at a pile of crap and make people pay to see it. Anyway, looking at estimated budgets for the total of all Marvel movies, we're going to have to go with something between $6.479 and $6.964 billion, since that's the range of estimates. I mean, when it comes to the Marvel's budget, these two articles were released a day apart. So for the purpose of this experiment, we are going to use $6.7 billion as our number. When budget numbers are released to the public, it never includes the marketing. One of Hollywood's dirty little not well-kept secrets. No, not that not well-kept secret. The general consensus is that the marketing for a movie generally costs about half of the production budget. Gotta spend money to make money. Spend more money and you make even more, right? So taking our $6.7 billion and divide that in half, and then add it to the total production, and we get $10 billion, 50 million. Yeah, $10 billion and 50 million. Anyway, wow, are we working with some big numbers here? Okay, more math. My fourth grade teacher would be so proud. Actually, she wouldn't, since I'm just doing all the math on my MacBook calculator, so I can paste the numbers into my video script and text edit. So maybe I'm making Steve Jobs proud? Moving on, now we need to subtract our new estimate for total money spent on the movie from the estimate of what they earned for the movie, and we get $4,863,654,127. Whoa, baby, that's still a pretty big number. It sure looks like they've made out pretty well. On second thought, Disney had to buy Marvel in order to make these movies. Well, not all of them, but the majority of them were made after the purchase of Marvel by Disney. Good news, this is easy math. We need to take $4 billion off the cost to really see how profitable Disney Marvel was for Disney overall. Disney has profited, in approximation, $863,654,127, or at least somewhere in that ballpark. Now, while that still looks pretty good on paper, it doesn't really seem like a good return on investment. I wonder what movie it was that Disney finally made a profit off of the Marvel purchase. And with the box office for Marvel movies declining just as fast as the quality that's been put out lately, it's not looking too good for Bobby's big purchase. Now, to be fair, Disney also has the merchandising rights to all the characters from the Marvel movies, but how much is that really earning them? And we have to remember all of the shows made for the Big D+. But did any of those actually make any money for Disney? It's all based on subscriptions, and with the recent subscription drop-off and the bundling schemes they've been pulling, can we guess that maybe they lost money on producing those shows? And also, Disney didn't have to foot the bill for some of the early Marvel Cinematic Universe films, as some were already released and some were already in production at the time of purchase. Now, they would make money later from DVD and Blu-ray sales, but they did have to purchase those distribution rights from the original distributors, like Paramount and Universal. So that's more money out the window, and how much was made in return. Absolutely none of these calculations include other costs that Disney would be out just for the running of Marvel Studios. Kevin Feige is said to earn $19 million per year salary, plus performance bonuses. And the rest of the studio employees just doing regular daily work, not directly related to production of any of these movies. This would not be included in the production budgets. And once again, the production budgets are estimated, as they're reported. We have no idea what they really are, and some recently have been said to be much higher than reported, with reshoots and sometimes completely reshooting the entire movie. So how much did Bob Iger gain for Disney with the purchase of Marvel? Or really, how much did he lose? Overall, what I've estimated in total earned profit would only allow them to make 3 Marvel movies. Or 2 if they wanted to market them. And if they continue losing money at the box office, how long will it be until the Disney well runneth dry? Is this the real reason why Bob is canceling projects quietly? And why he keeps worrying about those pesky activists who want to come in and take board seats so they can have a say in the board-making decisions that are accountable to their investors? What kind of evil bastards are they? Who do they think they are? Accountability, investors, telling good stories that everyone enjoys watching? That's not what Disney stands for anymore. At least not from what I've seen lately. I would even compare Bob Iger to the captain of the Titanic, his own hubris thinking him unsinkable. And in this fateful tale, you could even think that the multitude of content creators who have been warning that Disney is heading down the wrong path are the crew in the crow's nest screaming out, "Iceberg dead ahead!" But in this case, you would be wrong. They are the telegraph earlier on in the voyage that warned of the iceberg of bad quality and box office doom. The Disney Titanic has just entered the icy waters of the Atlantic, full steam ahead towards catastrophe. And while he decides to pull back on the throttle a bit by quietly canceling some projects, it's just too late, as the iceberg appears looming large just off the starboard bow. And when the once mighty ship is struck with flop after flop and begins taking on more water than it can handle, will the mighty captain go down with his ship, or will he abandon it amidst the disaster, much like he did before a certain pandemic hit years ago? What coincidentally perfect timing for that changing of the guard. Hit like if you like this video, hit subscribe if you'd like to see more, and hit the bell if you'd like to know when new videos come out. You may not agree with my math or my method, but what if I'm right?